Here's that breaking news one more time. Disney has just announced that Jimmy Kimmel will return to television tomorrow, saying in a statement last Wednesday, we made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country. It is a decision we made because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. We have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. And after those conversations, we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. Joining us now, Puck senior correspondent Dylan Byers. Is this a surprise, Dylan?
It's not a surprise that he was going to come back. I think that was what Disney had been telegraphing from the beginning. I mean, in many ways, the only person who might have called an end to that, I think, was Jimmy Kimmel himself, if he recognized an opportunity here to walk. Look, there's a lot to unpack here. On the one hand, Disney is still caught, I think, between a rock and a hard place when it comes to, their intention to sort of do the right thing here, frankly, and also satisfy the creative community, satisfy Hollywood. But I don't necessarily foresee pressure from the Trump administration or the FCC going away.
I think there's also an assumption of his viewership. I agree that, the mass media might be over, perhaps, I don't know. But there's a lot of people that are just laying in bed watching Jimmy Kimmel, whether they're really paying attention to it or not. And some of them are Republicans and some of them are Democrats. And they may be watching and disagreeing with everything he says, but that is something that actually is a part of this adrenaline dopamine hit is that in mass media right now is why we swipe so much, is like you actually need a charge of something. But last week when this happened, all of my Republican friends on this network told me this was a business decision. This happened because Sinclair affiliates were saying that their folks did not want to watch Jimmy Kimmel. Well, I was reading reports this weekend that Disney lost $4 billion, whether it was in shares, whether it was because there was an effort by folks on the left to get people to cancel their subscription. And I would argue perhaps Disney also saw that as a business decision and that they might have the pendulum might have swung too far. Presidents should not determine what people are saying and what people are not saying, but voters get to determine how they spend their dollars, how they select their subscriptions, and what they watch. And I think that this was a win for the left, and the voters spoke.
Before we go any further, let me let you know the Tim Black Wolfpack is dedicated, committed, 10 toes down to reporting the truth, unbiased, and not working for any political party. If that sounds good to you, go to jointimblack.com, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. I agree big time, man. I agree. I agree that the people get to decide what stays on the air, what doesn't. They get to decide if they're going to boycott something. I support the boycott, even though I don't support Jimmy Kimmel staying. I support you deciding you don't want to have these types of apps. You don't want to watch the Hulu or ABC or Disney products. I support you doing that if that's what you want to do. But on the same token, when it's the other way and Republicans or MAGA is upset, because this is definitely, I don't know why she tried to mess up with the framing here and try to make it a both sides thing. Man, Jimmy Kimmel is very much something that liberals watch. It just is. Very much, man. Come on, man. Who wants to watch Adam Schiff and the guy, James Comey? Jimmy Kimmel brings on those types of guests. Who's watching that? If not for, liberals, Democrats. Who else is watching that? So they claimed Kimmel's words were too insensitive in the heat of a national moment, but they're fine with bringing him back, even though the national moment's still going on. What they gave him was a PR timeout. And what ended the timeout was money. So I agree with her on that. It was money. $4 billion is a lot of dollars. That was a record loss of money. We're talking market cap subscriptions. Bam. There it is. Not good. Every day people lose their jobs for wrong thinking. We lose our jobs for posting on TikTok. This guy can't lose his job for posting on ABC. What are we doing? He gets a slap on the wrist in time for reflection. Yeah, I don't think Jimmy reflected at all. He sat, looked at a reflecting pond, smoked some weed, drank some scotch, and thought, I don't even know if I want to go back. And you know what? This turns out to be a big-ass win for the Democrats in a way, because if they like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Kimmel's going to get a second life. Yeah, this is a Nas song. This is a second life, Johnson. People weren't paying attention to this guy at all. And that gets all this free publicity. And now, yeah, I think it's a win for him. Don't you think it's a win, fam? This shows how media companies decide what's acceptable speech. And it changes depending on ratings, advertisers, and politics. The fact that the Jimmy Kimmel show's ratings were not amazing, it was like number 2, but that doesn't matter when it's a losing industry. Liberals and Democrats kept saying all week, oh, this guy's he's number 2. He's doing it. Well, yeah, but the money is not there even at number 2. They got rid of Arsenio for far less. So this was performative discipline on behalf of Disney. They deserve to get their foot stuck in the bear trap. It's an unforced error. I don't know a better way they could have maneuvered it except not to do it at all, maybe. Maybe not jump out the gym when there's no safety net. Maybe don't play hardball or go with Trump if you ain't going to go all the way. Now you just look weak. You look weak and pathetic. You bowing to these people. And these people weren't even going to watch Kimmel. We're going to see what happens. Kimmel's contract is up in January. It's up in 3 months anyway. But yay, we won. Once again, what did we win? Nada. Nada. Corporate media protects its own. The networks pretend to be morally offended and to defend from some moral stance. They do not. They defend money and they defend their stakeholders and their stockholders. That's what they do. And they bend the rules depending on who is on the chopping block. They bent the rules for Kimmel. That's it. I remember journalists getting fired for less. It was a Middle Eastern journalist on MSNBC who got fired, who went after, I don't know, maybe it was Hillary, maybe it was John McCain. He went after somebody with some very graphic language. And they got rid of him quickly. I forget his name. I forget the guy's name, man. But there have been other journalists who have lost their jobs. And Jimmy's not even a journalist. Like I said, this whole thing, I'm going to leave it there, man. I'm tired of talking about it. Let's keep it moving. What's next?
The Tim Black Show streams Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.